Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited. We got the best guest in the world on with us this morning. I didn't even get a chance to bring him on. He's so clever. He's already on. So hey, thank you so much. Welcome. Good morning, Dr. Boyce Watkins. That's just first and
Oh,
foremost.
good morning. I'm sorry, I just hit the button.
I know you just hop right on in. You didn't. Well, you have since you are here. I have to go ahead and also, I'm working with a new system this morning. I'm usually kind of like got my own thing going on, but I'm working with a new system, so I'm trying to make sure I can play my theme music. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. I got to play my theme music really quickly, Dr. Watson. Okay, that's it. That starts the morning right there. And before we go any step further, I have to say a quick prayer because this is what we do at the Madam President Morning Show, which is also brought to you by FlyNubianMoney.com. Do not forget that. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for allowing us to see today. We thank you for your grace and your mercy and your love. We just ask for your protection and your peace. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, so we can get it going. Let's see. B1, Dennis is in the building. Good morning, Dennis. Thank you for being here with us. In the words of Jay-Z, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me. So I appreciate that. Dr. Watkins, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to join you today.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that I know it's a little earlier where you are. You are Central, so it's 8:30.
Yeah, it's 8:30 in the morning here, and but I've been up for about 4 hours now. Ain't that crazy?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. But you know what they say, the early bird gets the worm and the millionaires get the money early. So I know why you're up so early.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. I was thinking about that today, and I was thinking about how a lot of times, like, I don't know if young people, I think I tweeted and I said, shout out to everybody under 30 who has a work ethic, because unfortunately, that work ethic that my generation, the successful people in my generation had, didn't get passed down to kids as much. And so it doesn't mean that they're lazy or that there's something wrong with them. It just means they're different. Like, just like I was different from my parents' generation. But I think we can learn from previous generations. And one thing that I think makes me sad is that, like, sometimes I'll see young people who aren't having success like they want. And I'll be like, yeah, well, because you slept till noon today. Like, what you think's gonna happen when So I think that basic stuff, sometimes people never learn those things when they're kids.
Absolutely. I agree. I think that I remember, people may not know this, but Dr. Watkins has been in my life for a very long time. I remember calling him. I was probably about a sophomore in college or going into a junior semester. And, having one conversation with you changed how I began to be a college student. I remember talking to you, and I remember you saying to me, you asked me about my grades, and I said, well, I can just tell you that, I don't have a 3.0, and, I was not doing great. And you said, well, I'm just going to tell you just like this. And this is the power of, having Dr. Watkins as a voice in your ear in life. You said to me, I'm going to tell you just like this. Smart people do not have to explain why they don't have good grades. And moment I began to realize that is absolutely true. You can't go around saying I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm talented while you produce nothing that. So if you're smart, you have to show that you're smart. If you're intelligent, it needs to show. You can't have all F's and then go around and say, well, I can pass. Well, pass. So thank you.
I could have passed. What had happened was,
right.
That's a good point. Potential don't mean nothing if you don't show it.
Absolutely. And I got a few things that I wanted to ask you too, in reference to just potential in the Black community, because I know you have a heart out. But I wanted to know, as you are the father of finance, what is the biggest financial lie Black people have been conditioned to believe, and how do we unlearn it?
Well, I'd say one of the biggest financial lies that we have is that we're poor.
Mm,
There's no group of people on the planet that has 1.6 trillion a year in income that gets to say that they're poor. You
wow.
know, I know we want to carry the mantle of poverty, and and we have like we got the poverty trauma Olympics. Like, well, I was so poor, I had bologna sandwiches with no bologna, and my uncle shot my mama in front of me, and then they took all the money, and we were in the projects, and I get all that, I respect all that, but the reality is that if you go around the world, very few countries are wealthier than the Black community. If we were a country, we'd be in the top 11. I think we'd be right up here. We'd be right past Mexico and Russia. Russia has hypersonic missiles. So come on now. Hypersonic missiles, by the way, those are the nuclear missiles that the United States cannot detect. They could take out Chicago, LA, or New York, and we wouldn't even be able to stop it. So that's what I'm
Really?
talking about. Yeah, it's real stuff. It's serious.
Wow.
So my thing is, like, I'm trying to figure out um when we're going to realize that poor really isn't just how much money you have, it's really a mindset, right? And
Mhm.
if somebody gives you money and you have a poverty mindset, you're not going to have that money for very long. Money is something that has to be protected, and it's like me giving you a football, but you don't know what a football field looks like. You don't know what a touchdown is. You don't know the rules of the game. You don't have a strategy. Well, it doesn't matter if I hand you the ball. You're not going to know which way to run with it. So I think that's something that we have to accept.
Okay, I like that. Absolutely. And I definitely agree. I said a couple weeks ago that the biggest lie is that I'm broke. I don't have no money. We're not broke. That's why the Asians, when they build, the nail salons in the poor community, they know that this is a demographic that's going to have them wealthy. So if there was no money in the community, people will not have corner stores. People would
Mhm.
not have all these other things in our community, eating very well off of it if we were broke, if we didn't have what people say that we don't have. So I'm going to drop some bombs on that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, it is interesting too, like that. You're right. I mean, people think that we're poor, but it's like, if we're poor, then why is everybody coming to our neighborhood to get money? Don't nobody ask you for money if you ain't got none, right?
Absolutely.
But then again, you could become poor if you let everybody have your money, right? So um, if I say, well, look, I'm poor, but I make $1 million a year, and some people say, well, how can you be poor? You make $1 million a year. But
Uh-huh.
what if, but then somebody might look and say, oh, I get it now. He makes $1 million a year, but all his friends come by his house, the poor house, and they take his $1 million, and they're all taking $100 here, $50 there, and next thing you know, he has no money left. So it's like, yeah, you're poor, but not for the reasons you think. You think you started poor and you were born poor and you're meant to be poor, where really there was a process that made you poor. So
Mm.
it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm really the man that makes $1 million a year who says I'm always broke and I'm always poor. But if I don't examine the choices and what I'm doing with the resources I have, then I'm never going to change that condition.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to know something too. We talk a lot in our community about breaking generational curses, right? What is a financial or cultural curse you had to break within yourself that changed your life?
Um, there's a lot. I think I know. I had to definitely make sure I wasn't like my father.
Mm,
You know, I had two fathers. One father that wasn't in my life at all, and the other one that was there, but he was kind of a little bit rougher. He was very rough because he was a police captain and Vietnam veteran, and so he kind of had a firm, hard handed way of handling stuff. And I don't really do that with my kids. I don't believe in being just dismissive and mean to other people. I think people should be heard and respected.
mhm,
Um, and I try my best to do that as a parent. I don't know if that's necessarily uh, the perfect way to parent, though, right? Because I do believe that as parents, we want to be nicer to the kids, like we don't want them to go through what we went through,
Yeah.
but there's benefits that I got from what I went through. You know, like yeah, life was hard, but I became a hard, tough person because I went through hard, tough stuff. You know, I had to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to get out and make my own money when I was 14 years old, and and that's because I knew wasn't nobody gonna give me nothing. You know, and so I kind of feel bad for people that don't go through anything though. I feel like as much as we want to talk about our generational curses as being complete curses, I don't think a curse has to be a curse. A curse can be a blessing if you turn it into what it's supposed to be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you process the curse in the right way, I think it can be turned into a blessing. But that requires work. It requires reflection, perspective, attitude, therapy. Therapy's big. You know, you get therapy and you're like, okay, let me think about the horrible crap I went through and see if I can make some sense of it so it can maybe reshape my purpose in life, right? Like I went through abuse as a kid and that was terrible. It shouldn't have happened to me. But now that I'm an abuse survivor, I can empathize heavily with abuse victims, which means I'm gonna dedicate my life to defending them and protecting them and supporting them. That to
Mm-hmm.
me is a net win for society. It's a painful price you had to pay personally, but maybe sometimes I think God puts us through things so that we can become better people for other people, not just for ourselves.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I think so too. I definitely can see that. But I was also kind of wondering about, we talk about, you mentioned fathers, and and you've been a father to me in my life as I've grown, and I have gotten older. But I want to know this: what advice will you give to women and men, or women who are raising sons, or a young boy who's raising himself to overcome? Like, what is the essential thing that they should know about?
What what advice would I give? What advice would I give to mothers raising sons?
Yeah,
Um,
a
you
young
know,
boy
I,
himself.
there's a few things. One thing I would say is I'm gonna say this, and I don't know how people feel about this, but I think it's very rare, if not impossible, that a woman can really show a boy how to be a man in today's society. It's
Hmm.
like I wouldn't dare begin to think I could teach our girls how to be a woman without their mother.
Mm,
It would sound crazy for me to say, well, I can show them how to be a woman. I can show them how to put on a tampon and how to do all the things women do. Like I don't know nothing about that. And even if I did, I could go read a book about it and take classes on it and talk to people about it. But I'm not necessarily as wired for it as their mother is. Their mother has been doing this stuff her whole life. She understands certain things. And I know that there's certain conversations that they have like this week there's a conversation our 14-year-old had with her mother that I was not invited to, you know,
mm,
and I uninvited myself. I wanted to jump in and give my 2 cents, but I knew it was time for me to do my part, which was to shut up and listen, or just be on standby in case I was needed. And I don't think men are allowed to say that, right?
mhm,
People get offended, and there are so many people who feel that they can tell men what to do and all this other stuff. And or I know, let me tell you how to be a man. You can't tell me how to be no man, and I'm not going to ask your permission on what manhood looks like. I decide what it means to be a man, and just like I'm gonna let you decide what it means to be a woman. And this shows up
mhm,
politically. It showed up definitely during the election.
mhm,
You don't got no business telling men who to vote for and women who to vote for. You have no right to do that.
mhm,
And so with that being said, I would say to mothers raising sons, I commend you for doing your best. Without mothers, being a mother, that's the most important job in the world. So without mothers, the world would just fall apart because if mothers stop doing their jobs, like the whole society would fall apart. We have a whole world of serial killers, because a mother's love is very important. I just lost my mother Christmas Eve, so that so I was thinking about that this morning, looking at a picture of my mother right now. Mothers are just everything. Um, and the other thing I would say is that we have to really come to terms with like what the role of the father is and how important that father is, and what sacrifices do we make, are we willing to make to make sure that that father is heavily involved in the life of the child, to make it as easy as possible, to
Yeah.
not set terms and conditions and and restrictions and give orders and commands. Just like, okay, that's my son's with his father, and that's what he's going to do. I think that's because the breakdown of the black family is the worst thing that's happening to us.
Hmm.
We cannot build wealth without family. There's no community on the planet that can build wealth that has broken families and all that. No, no, none, never in the history.
Yeah.
So if we don't get the black family thing correct on some level, we keep having babies and then breaking up before the baby's born. You're gonna have a lot of chaos. And actually, I'm talking too much, but I got to tell you this story, Chanel. Madam President, sorry.
Okay.
The you know, I watched a documentary about King Von. And it wasn't a documentary, just a little short little bio clip on King Von. It's out of Chicago. You and I both, you a real Chicagoite. I've been here 10 years.
Right.
And I just saw this poor guy. He's super talented. He was born in 1994. Got in trouble a lot when he was a kid. Got into drill music, joined record labels with Lil Durk. Next thing you know, he's dead. Lil Durk's in prison. And it's unfortunate because statistically speaking, a lot of that was very predictable based on where they were born, the experience they had, what they affiliated with, and the path they end up being, sort of choosing because of where they lived and how, the situation, right?
Yes, sir.
And I imagine in my head, I imagine King Von and Dirk as being born in completely different neighborhoods, completely different experiences, different situations. I don't know the situation of their father, but I think Von's daddy was in prison or something like that, right? We know the statistics; they're very predictable, unfortunately. Um, and I just imagine like this talented young man and all these other things he could have been, and what those two together as friends would have been in a whole different reality, So in Chicago, I think we're kind of like ground zero in terms of seeing the effects of not having those fathers involved, not having that male leadership. You need that masculine leadership in a community when you're managing young boys, because when you don't, you have gang affiliation, you have violence, you have chaos. And until we get that straight, we're going to have chaos in our community.
I totally agree with you. My father was killed when I was 10. So my father at the time I was born at 18, so he was 28. So when I think about, me, 39 this year, I have outlived my father, and sometimes when I'm in the world and I see people, they remind me the statue, it'd be like this dark man, tall, low fade. I'd be like, oh my God, he looks like what my father could have looked like. And then sometimes I think about would he have ever defeated white supremacy in that
Mm.
context of, would you stay away from drugs? Would you stay away from, all the poison that's presented to you? I had a friend who, when we was in high school, she got pregnant. And after she got pregnant, her mother was like just this big old support to her, to the point where she joined the Air Force. She goes to Howard. She's in the Air Force. She's an attorney for the Air Force. And when
Nice.
we talk about this, she talks about how she would have never accomplished any of that without the community support. I
Yes.
despise how the Black community handle children. We
Mhm.
if we was to handle the children like we handled the paycheck, well, better than that, because we can, throw money down the drain too. But if we understood that the wealth is in the youth, so it's
Mm.
like you get to a certain age and it's in your mind, you have to understand, okay, I have to do this for this person. This person is coming behind me. And I think about, Dr. King or some of the other leaders, Malcolm X, they don't get a chance to see the what they have produced, what they have fought for, because they're gone. So it's like, this new youth, this current youth, they have a lot, they have a lot at their fingertips, especially in the digital age of, from social media, AI, all these different things. And it's like, why do our children have to be subjected to the violence, this kind of violence, or the esteem issues, etc.? It bothers me.
I think it's because we just expect that. Like there's a, you teach the world how to treat you. Um, like you look at the Super Bowl, right? Everybody thinks it was like the blackest Super Bowl ever, and I mean, the Super Bowl. I mean, it was very black everywhere except for the owner's box.
Mhm.
Except for the people that are gonna get the money. It was
Mhm.
black on stage. It was all black on the football field, mostly black. But then when you get to the place where people start actually benefiting from that big event, they ain't too many black people in that space. Definitely not
Mhm.
in terms of majority owners. And we like that. Like we're okay with that. Like we celebrate that. Like we're like, oh yeah, big touchdown, big win for black people. I'm not saying it wasn't a win. I'm not saying people didn't do a great job. Kendrick is amazing. The athletes were amazing. But you could go back 300 years to any plantation in the South, and on some day where there's like a festival or something, maybe the Negro Festival, where they would have them out there playing, the black people playing sports, bashing each other's heads in, and then in between doing entertainment, doing some kind of buck dance or something, and the white folks sitting on their porch with mint juleps, talking about that boy show is strong.
Mhm.
That girl show can't sing. Like
Mhm.
ain't nothing changed. Ain't a damn thing changed. So
Mhm.
what happens is that we get subjugated to certain lifestyles in America because that is what people feed us and that is what we accept. That is what they offer us and that's what we feel like we deserve. That like that is our black job and we accept that black job. We go out looking for the black job. Right? We don't go out looking for the white job. We go out looking for the black job. Wait, what's the black job? I need the black jobs. Right?
Mhm.
And it becomes a thing where it's like I mean it's some of it's very basic. Um, and it's very hard to say these things without getting just so many people that just want to resist it just by instinct. But I just thought about it. I said, how am I going? How you really gonna get mad when white people call you niggas when your favorite rappers all call you niggas?
Mhm.
That's got to be the most confusing shit in the history of all mankind. Like
Mhm.
if I hear all your friends calling you a name and you calling yourself a name and you calling all your friends the same name, if I want to fit in with you, I'm gonna call you what you call yourself. I think that you teach people how to treat you. So
Yes.
until we kind of confront that, then, like for example, another thing, we know, for example, that there are, I think it's only 15% of all black high school seniors can like read or do math at grade level. And how many black people are out in the streets protesting this right now? How much outrage is there out there anywhere? Is there a national movement like where black folks are just going crazy, not refusing to go to work, blocking traffic? Think about it. I mean, they got immigrants. Mexicans are blocking traffic in LA right now over immigration. Right?
Mhm.
Where are we blocking traffic saying, no, you get my child out of these inferior schools or else we need to fix this by any means necessary. No, but let something happen, I don't know, put a police shooting on CNN, a George Floyd incident. And they say, okay, black people, we're gonna turn on the outrage button now. Here's the outrage button. We want y'all to be outraged because we got an election coming and we'll be going crazy. So
Mhm.
we don't even know who we are. We don't even know how we're supposed to feel. We don't allow ourselves to explore the ideas that are correct ideas. Instead, we sort of look for cues.
Mhm.
We're looking to massive to say, okay, should I be mad about this? Okay, I'm mad. Okay, I'm gonna get angry right now, right? So I personally think, or even if I talk, um, I could probably get more attention talking about Kendrick versus Drake than I could get talking about what's happening in the investing world or what's happening in the public schools or what's happening to black families.
Mhm.
So I think that the bigger question to ask ourselves is what are we spending our time on? What are
Mhm.
we investing in? That's what it's really about investing, except it's not about money though. Like it's like, well, what are you investing in, right? Because whatever you invest in, my mother used to say, my mother said, whatever you put money energy into, that's what's going to grow in your life.
Mhm.
What are you putting in? So when you wake up in the morning, what are you thinking about? Well, whatever you're thinking about, that's what's going to grow in your life because you're putting energy into it. Who are you? Are you spending time? Are you working on your goals? Or are you spending time on the phone arguing with your ex? well, then that situation is going to grow because that's what you're putting energy into. Are you putting energy into raising your kids to be successful, or are you putting your energy into social media? Wherever you're investing, that is what's going to grow. So I ask all Black people, like, what are you investing in? Like
Mm-hmm.
today, when you get up, when you go, or better yet, here's another good example. When we get up and we go to work every day for that white man, for Mr. Charlie, we're investing in his company. We
Mm-hmm.
are. We are the biggest investors. We're going to invest about 100,000 hours of labor, which has a multi-million-dollar value. The problem is that wealth is going to go to him. It's not going to go to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the NFL, we are among the biggest investors in the NFL. There's not a single owner in the NFL who ever got CTE from being an NFL owner. There's not
Mm.
a single owner in the NFL whoever shot jumpers in the gym, or so to speak, whoever got tackled, whoever learned how to play football, whoever went to a football practice, whoever got their body destroyed to play the sport. So we're the biggest investors in the NFL, but we don't get the result of that investment. So long story short, the question is not, you shouldn't just ask like, well, why are we struggling? Why are we broke? You should ask, well, how do we get here, and what are we putting our energy into? Because we know that what we put our energy into will grow. So clearly the things that aren't working are things we have not put energy into.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's like if you get your report card and you get bad grades, well, somebody's gonna be like, well, did you study? Now if you study 5 hours a day and you got bad grades, that's a problem. But you're gonna look back and be like, damn, well, I guess I shouldn't expect a good grade because I didn't study. Well, there you go. That solves your problem. So
Exactly.
we get bad grades in certain areas of our lives because we did not study. We did not invest in making the good grade. So why do you expect the good grade when you only invested at a level that's going to lead to the bad?
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. This is flynubianmoney.com. This is where you want to get your money up, get your mind up as well. Okay. So we have all the best resources at flynubianmoney.com. And if you want to keep up with all of my sisters, Constance Carter, Miss Black Hollywood, The Daily Show, you should text Queens to 87948. Text Queens to 87948. Also, if you want to keep up with Madam President, text Madam to 87948. Dr. Watkins, I believe you had a hard out at 10. It's currently 9:58. I do not want you to leave without saying what you want to say, final word. Or I was going to ask you another question, but if you got a hard out, I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, it unfortunately is a hard out. We got to do our Money in the Morning class,
Okay.
which starts at 10. But last quick point I'll just make on this is first of all, I love everything you're doing. I love what you represent. I respect anybody in our community that wants to do better, because I know that it's not always easy. People that want to stay mediocre and stay at the status quo, that's the majority. That's what's popular. I don't want to do what's popular. I want to do what's unpopular, because those who do what's unpopular today will be basically doing what's going to be popular tomorrow.
Mm,
Black excellence will one day be popular. Black success will one day be popular. Black wealth will one day be popular. So if you think I'm an outcast, it's okay. I just know I'm ahead of the curve. So that's what it is.
absolutely. I agree with you on that. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. I think all of you all are following Dr. Boyce Watkins, but if you are not, you know where to follow him at Dr. Boyce Finance on Twitter, as well as Instagram and YouTube. Thank you, Dr. Watkins. I won't, you can leave. I'm going to stay on just to give some final thoughts to my friends on the morning show. I just want to say that, this is the morning show. We do this every Monday through Friday. We do this every Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, every Monday through Friday. I'm very grateful for Dr. Watkins. He has been a force in my life, for many years now, over 2 decades. He's been a force in my life. He's been a guiding light in my life, showing me the ropes. I call him Dad. My father was killed when I was a little girl, so it was very easy to respect his wisdom, to respect, what he offers the world, and know that, this is what it is. This is what father figures are like. They are people who give you wisdom, who give you advice, who give you love, who also give you scolding. Dr. Boyce will be the first one to tell me, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, and I would have to straighten up or correct, etc. So all that to say that if you tune to the Madam President Morning Show, we do this every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We do a show that is geared toward different topics. Today we had Dr. Boyce Watkins on, but that is not every day. Don't come on the show thinking you're going to see Dr. Boyce Watkins every single day, because it's not going to happen. You're going to see me and somebody else or me talking about certain things. But other than that, that's it. All right, guys, I'm going to let you all enjoy the rest of your day. I'm wishing you a day of love, peace, and happiness. All right, I'm out. See you tomorrow.